Howdy everyone on YouTube and across internet cyberspace. Thank you for tuning into the WatchBox review. And in this review we're going to take a close look at the Citizen Orca Echo Drive Dive tool. So I got a lot to talk about, so I'm going to go really fast here. Let's start off with the overall dimensions. The overall lug end to lug end here is 55 millimeters. The case width, including the crown, is 48 millimeters across. The bezel diameter is a 45 millimeter diameter bezel. And the domed mineral crystal is 32 millimeters across. The case thickness overall is 15 millimeters thick. And the strap is a nice rubber strap, and it tapers down from 26 millimeters at the lug end to 19 millimeters at the buckle. The crown diameter is a 6 millimeter diameter crown. Okay, so let's take a close look at the case back. The case back is a standard screw-in case back. The case back itself is not titanium, okay, like the rest of the watch. The case back on this particular version is bead blasted stainless steel. So if you're looking for a watch that places pure titanium against your skin, maybe you're allergic to stainless steel or something, this particular watch will not achieve that. I've read reports from other owners of this watch that have said their case backs are titanium, so I think there may have been perhaps a mid-production run design change or something to that effect. But mine, this one here, alas, is not all titanium. Okay, so you can actually see that. I don't know if the camera will pick it up. You can actually see that the titanium has a more amber color, and the stainless steel has more of a pure gunmetal gray color. Okay, so here is the screw down crown, and the crown together with the screw in case back achieve 20 ATMs of water case pressure resistance. Okay, you can see the overall case shape. It's very aggressively curved with a very steep, aggressive strap drop down angle. So I really think this watch is geared for people with average or smaller sized wrists because of that. It's very comfortable on a smaller wrist, I think. Let's see, take a look at the front dial. The front dial really is where all the magic happens. So you can see why this watch has been pet named the Orca. It looks like a killer whale, basically. Especially mine, is the black dial version. It's got a sunray dial texture to that dial, and it's also semi-translucent. You can actually see through it and see the Echo Drive solar recharge cell in there. In addition to that, it's got these white paint markings around the perimeter of the watch to indicate the hours. That are done in Citizen's glow-in-the-dark paint mix, and obviously they're all-round shaped like the markings on an Orca killer whale. Okay, the unidirectional rotating dive bezel is smooth. It's a 60-click variety around the perimeter. It's also done in titanium. It's got a nice knurl edge finish on it that's very easy to grasp with cold or wet fingers. It's got a glow-in-the-dark pip at the 00 position. And overall, the alignment of the dive bezel to the tick marks on the stadium chapter ring align up beautifully with the quartz movement ticking second hand. If you're like a guy who's really fanatic about alignment with your second hands and your features on the dial, this is probably a dive watch that you're going to want to consider. The hands of the watch are big, bold, and fat, and are just covered in luminescent paint. The minute hand obviously is a neon orange, and it really stands out. Really gives the watch like a dive tool kind of an appearance. It's got a date window there at the 3 o'clock position. It's obviously a black on white. And I'm not sure if you can see the sunray dial texture. You can kind of see it there, but you can definitely see through the dial and see into the depth of the watch and see the Echo Drive recharge circuit. Okay, so the buckle of the watch, I believe, is titanium, but don't quote me on that. I'm not sure, and I have really no way to tell. But it is definitely a matte finish, and it's very comfortable, very easy to engage. So what you're looking at here is about a 2.5-year-old watch. I've owned this watch for 2 years, and I've been very happy with it. Overall, super comfortable. The dial really pops and really stands out, and that's the one I've had as many comments from passersby about this watch as I have my bigger, bolder, flashier Invictas and Androids and my other more flamboyant watches, and that's because the dial combined with that domed mineral crystal just really pops, and it's the one thing that just totally jumps out at you when you look at this and you see it on someone's wrist. In fact, if you're a small, like I said earlier, if you're a smaller wristed individual and you're looking for a watch that you can wear comfortably but has massive presence on the wrist, this is definitely a watch for you, I think, because it's so bold and the dial is so distinctive. Okay, so there's a lot more to this watch than meets the eye. It is an actual dive tool. Okay, do you see that? It says DIVER'S. It says DIVER'S 200 meters. Okay, now by that dial text designation, you're getting a dive watch that meets ISO 6425, a dive watch standard. I encourage anybody who's interested into this watch to go ahead and wiki search ISO 6425. But inside that are engineering performance criteria for pull tests on a strap, pull force test on a strap. There's some temperature cycling exposure requirements that the watch must be able to handle and meet. The watch must be fully luminous at night in the dark. That includes the second hand, so that you can tell what time it is to the second in dark lighting conditions. There's a shock resistance test, a magnetic resistance test, all this good stuff. I encourage anybody to read this. I'm not going to go into further detail besides that. But I encourage anybody to read this if you're interested in the Citizen Orca, or actually any Citizen, or a lot of Citizen and a lot of Seiko watches meet ISO 6425. Probably the most critical element of that standard, though, is if it's a quartz watch, it has to be able to indicate a low battery condition to the wearer. Okay, and when you think about it, a diver is going down and they only have limited oxygen supplies, and if you're timing your ascents and descents based upon that, you're going to want to know if your battery is depleted or fully charged. Now, a lot of more advanced Citizen dive tools actually have a battery charge indicator on it, either a needle gauge dial or something like that to indicate low, medium, high on your battery charge. This particular watch doesn't, but it does have the battery indicator located within the second hand. So what you're seeing now is the motion of a fully charged battery in this watch. If this battery were depleted a little bit down, that ticking second hand would jump seconds. It would alternate seconds. It would go 2, 4, 6, 8, and you see it skipping big chunks of time around the dial. So I've had a couple instances where that did occur, that did happen for whatever reason. I wasn't wearing the watch very often, and I looked down and it's like, whoa, what happened to my watch? And it's pretty obvious, when you look at it, it's like, oh, what's going on? What's it doing? And so that's basically how it indicates a low battery charge. So the Echo Drive circuit on this watch has been totally brainless, total ease of simplicity. I just wear the watch in, like what you're seeing here, indoor lighting conditions, outdoor obviously in the sun. I've never had to do anything above and beyond normal daily wear to keep this battery charged. I think the most I've ever done is maybe put it on a shaded windowsill to get indirect sunlight from the outside. The one thing you don't want to do is put it like under a hot halogen desk lamp, or you don't want to put it on a hot windowsill, because the watch can get physically very warm to the temperature when you do that. So let's dim the lights now and give you guys a quick glimpse at the Lume. Okay, you can actually see a little bit of it there just from the ambient light. And for what it's worth, this camera I'm using has a very hard time picking up faintly lit objects. So you've seen in my other videos how the Lume just really fades out super fast, and that's really because this camera just cannot pick up faint amounts of luminescent light. But I think you'll be surprised by the Citizen. There we go. So one of the outstanding features of Citizen dive watches in general is the Lume. Now, for this camera to pick up and to show the luminescent properties this brightly and this distinctly, I think speaks more volumes than anything, because you can really clearly see that the hands ticking around and the dial indicators, the Orca paint scheme, the glow-in-the-dark pip, which is actually green. That's kind of cool. The pip on the bezel is actually green, and the dial is actually blue. So those hands will stay lit well through the night without any problem. I can easily read the time on this watch through the night. Okay, and part of that ISO 6425 standard, you're getting, as a standard, you're getting glow-in-the-dark indicators on your second hand to show that the watch is running. Okay, so let's turn the lights on and wrap things up. Okay, so I like this watch. It's a great watch. I bought it for $160 at Costco, again 2 years ago, and it's a phenomenal watch. If you guys are like I said earlier, maybe a small wristed individual and you want just a dial that pops, something that really stands out, this is your watch here. So anyhow, I want to thank you guys, and I'll catch you guys later.